is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Wars of the Stars, episode number 75. Today, we got a bunch of topics. Obviously, our big topics are going to be a Thor Love and Thunder preview and a Miss Marvel episode 5 review. We will also talk about the new information we got on Andor from Tony Gilroy and a couple of images we got, and some new images for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. On the announcement side of things, we will be having our Thor Love and Thunder review either Friday or Saturday. To be determined right now. We'll see.
Currently, it's looking like Friday,
Okay.
but it's subject to change to move back to Saturday.
Okay. So
Basically, I'll break this down for you folks right now. Okay, it's coming up to if my dad's up to go or not. If he doesn't want to go, if he wants to go, but doesn't want to go on Friday, then we're just going to go see it on Saturday like we normally do. If he doesn't want to go, period, then I'm just going to go by myself on Friday.
Okay. So yeah. So Thor Love and Thunder review this weekend sometime, either Friday night or Saturday night. Always an exciting time when a Marvel film comes out. So yeah, Alex.
Could you imagine if a Star Wars film came out? You know what our show's named after?
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy to think that we've reviewed more Marvel movies and shows than we have Star Wars movies or shows.
Well, we talk about both. I mean, the original theme was going to be Star Wars, but I don't think we could have done that. Like, we feasibly couldn't have done that.
There was not enough, unless we did like one show a month for like 8 hours.
Yeah, right.
And that would not have worked.
So, Alex, how's it going, my man?
It's going, you know? It's going. I can't show you guys this. I'll get yelled at if I do show you. I got my first NeoPixel lightsaber, and
how much did you spend on this?
130. Which you know, my Palpatine lightsaber I was messing with the other show was 175, and it's way worse than my Palpatine lightsaber, or way better. I love it. But yeah, it's been fine. I've been just doing some stuff with work, waiting to go back to school. Honestly, trying to get my last year done and over with.
Yeah. So obviously 4th of July, had a fun day. I think it's my favorite holiday, just because it's in the summer. Get to do stuff with people. By far the best holiday, in my opinion. Superior holiday.
Thanks. Yikes.
Christmas is only good because you open presents. That's it.
My birthday's in December. That's why I love it. It's right next to Christmas.
That's fair. I mean, Thanksgiving's a close second for me because my birthday falls on Thanksgiving some years. So yeah. Christmas is third. Christmas is a little overrated to me. But
no.
I have been reading. I've gotten back into some Star Wars books. I usually like to read.
Yes. Oh, no.
What?
So let's just say this for a little behind the scenes thing. I've been meaning to send Drew a package for a while.
Yeah, for like over a year.
Not over a year.
Oh, close to it.
Close to about half a year. I'm planning on sending it. What? November. Yeah.
So it's been 9 months.
Yeah. Coming up on a year. One of my things, it's a gag. It's more of a gag gift. Is a Star Wars book. And you're gonna love it.
Is it Brotherhood?
No.
I'm currently reading Brotherhood by Mike Chen. About 130 pages in. Good so far. If you like Anakin and Obi-Wan, you will definitely like this. I usually don't like to read Star Wars books often. I like to mix it up. But yeah, I'm reading Brotherhood currently. It's a very easy read.
Yeah.
I think the last Star Wars book I read was Rise and Storm, which I have over there. And after this, I'm going to read another book. And then I will touch Shadows of the Sith.
Holy shit, is that a dictionary? How thick is that book?
It's long, I know that. It's about 500 pages, I think.
No, I'm trying to think. The last, fictional book I read was...
about 460. Brotherhood's about 3:30.
Yeah, I think I'm about to read another Star Wars book, but I don't know. I've been thinking about doing the Padme books, but I've heard a lot of people saying they're just all right. I really want to read Alphabet Squadron. I hear nothing but praise about that book with those saga of books. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. So yeah. Uh, what do we want to get into first?
Miss Marvel. Whew, surprisingly awesome episode. It's my favorite finale of any series.
That's a good one.
Wait, it's not a finale?
No,
Oh,
it's episode
it's
5.
it's the episode before the finale.
Penultimate. Yeah.
It's actually weird, okay? Because I've actually heard a lot of people not like this episode. Like they complained about the CGI in the episode, which I thought was awesome in this episode. Like when the veil was open, man, I thought it looked pretty cool. Yeah, this episode was really good. I think the best way to describe Miss Marvel is it gets better every episode. Like this episode length should have been the entire series of episode lengths. Like 50-minute episodes did this series so bad because it was too long. This, like, what would you say, like 34, 35 minutes worth of content? I think
About.
I think that was just the perfect length. Kenobi should have been as long as those episodes were.
I enjoyed this episode. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite. I think episode 4 is still my favorite episode.
Mhm.
I will say, this show, I mean, I said it, I made a TikTok review before we got on here, and I said this show really excels at the family dynamic, characterization, just basic story beats. I think where the problem is like when you watch a superhero show, you want to understand what's happening, right? You want to understand their power set. The show does a terrible job explaining anything that's happening, like
Yeah,
anything that's happening supernaturally, like magical, mystical powers. And again, there is one episode left, but um, okay, the fact that Kamala went back into like these are things you literally could have one line of dialogue, right? It's for example, when Strange talks about the spell in No Way Home, right? It's just a simple line like, "Oh, if we mess this up, we could do some bad things," right? That explains the
mm-hmm.
parameters, right? The TVA explains what they're doing with pruning individuals and pruning timelines.
Yep.
This show is just info dump with the Claudestians and with the Veil, the Noor dimension, whatever you want to call it, and not a whole lot of explanation to what it is or what's happening. Because as an audience member, I am very confused. There's just some beats that are missed with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of my big problems with the MCU as a whole, it really muddies up many things. Like just to think within these first since Phase 4 started, so WandaVision to now, we have gotten things like realms, timelines, universes, dimensions, stuff like that. The problem is with the MCU, and I'm gonna ask if you think this. What I assume time travel is in the MCU is you cause a Nexus event and it creates a new timeline where the events before were the same as the sacred timeline, but then now new events will spring off. It's not a different universe; it's different events. Same stuff happened until one thing happened. Another universe would be like instead of Captain America getting the super soldier serum, it was Peggy Carter. What if Killmonger, or if Killmonger saved Iron, like those are different universes, different events played out, But now with this, Kamala was set back in time travel, but now we're getting like Harry Potter time travel, whereas it was always destined to happen. You were always destined to go back in time and help your grandma find her father. So we're like, is Nor a dimension? Is it a realm? Is it a new world? Is it a universe? Like the
We've only been told it exists on top of Earth.
Yeah.
That's the explanation. It's not like it, it's not shown like
Yeah.
in the Thor films. Like it is shown how Asgard is different
Yeah.
from
It's another
Earth or
realm.
Midgard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a
Right.
realm in space.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's honestly, you could more or less call Asgard a planet in space, but
Right.
it works more as a realm. But I mean, whatever. But like with this, like where is Nor? What is this place? Like
Right.
we're probably not gonna see it. So it's just like it doesn't make sense. Um, and I just think that the problem of the show is it sets up too much. Like now all of a sudden Kamran has powers. Where did those come from? We found out that the Bangle unlocked Kamala's powers. Okay, so is it the Bangle doesn't give off the hard light or whatever it's called? Does it not give that to everyone, or is that just specific to Kamala? I think that's my problem with the show. It sets up a lot and then does nothing to support it.
6 episode format.
It's not even that though. I don't
I
think
think
it's
it
a
is.
6 episode format. I think like with Loki and whatnot, I think that worked for it. I mean, if you want my honest opinion, I think 8 episodes should be the standard for these shows. I think The Mandalorian is a great example as to why 8 episodes works. You can take episodes like, I'm trying to think, like the spider episode or in season 2. You can take that. It doesn't take away from the story. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest episode of the season, but it was still a fun adventure to go on. The Book of Boba Fett showed why 7 doesn't work because you get interlude stories like the Return of the Mandalorian, or I forget what episode 6 was called, but where now all of a sudden we've gone too far away from Boba Fett for an episode. Oh, now we're too far away from him for 2 episodes, where 5 of the 7 episodes of his show weren't about him. They were about someone else. It worked with the Return of the Mandalorian and interlude stories always happening in media. 2 episodes was too much. But Miss Marvel is the prime reason why, if it's not done right, 6 episodes doesn't work. It's
Just
too
will feel
short.
like too much needs to be explained. I felt the same way with Hawkeye.
Yes.
Like too
Yeah.
much needed to be wrapped up, and
Yeah.
it's never you never really
Yeah.
paid off as a viewer.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Absolutely.
And also like I felt like the clandestines were rushed as it is. Like we got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of their information through info dumps, and then now they're dead. They're dead,
Yeah.
presumably dead. I'm sure maybe something in the next episode about them, but even then, there's a lack of development. There's a lack of me even caring. First off, they're introduced halfway through the story, right? They're
Yeah.
introduced in
Got
episode 3.
it's got the Hawkeye. Trying to think. Hawkeye, WandaVision, Falcon
They're
and the
just
Winter.
underdeveloped, and then you kill them in episode 5. Now, I don't mind this if we're gonna take Carmine as a villain, but I don't think we're going that way. I think we're also gonna go on a discovery of
Yeah, and I think the problem,
powers for him.
and I
This is
think,
like the big problem with the show. Like it nails what it wants to be. Like the fact that it's a young girl who's trying to find her way in her family to be accepted. But from the aspect of establishing her in a uh, cinematic universe with superheroes, it lacks because I'm still very confused about her power set. I
yeah,
mean, her power set I get it's through the bangle, but there's just so much you've set up, and
mm-hmm.
I really appreciated the flashback in this episode. It was really heartfelt, really warming. I love the story of Aisha and Hassad. It was really good to weave in the historical element of partition and the separation of India and Pakistan based on religion, and
Yeah,
how after the British left the country, that country basically was in quote unquote, you would say, ruins almost because it was difficult to assimilate, for all of them to assimilate with each other without a governing body. That was a really nice story. It was a really nice touch. It was really nice to see Kamala go back and you know, appreciate and learn how to use those powers, how to harness the powers of the Bangle. Kind of get that motivation speech from a mentor. She's heard so much about Aisha and the Bangle to talk to her. I think was really impactful for the character, but there's just a lack of explanation of how it like fits. How does it work, right?
Yeah.
And that's just another thing. This is more of a Marvel thing. Like I go back and I watch the Infinity Saga, and there's something we just appreciate about it now. It's just like it was well crafted, like well planned
Yeah.
out.
And I think
This
yeah.
this I still think is crafted, but like I
Mm.
struggle to see like where things are. Like
Yeah.
with the Infinity Saga, you knew what was happening when. With this, it's like what is happening. What? There's just too much.
Yeah. I think
So
yeah. And
sorry, Karen.
I think my also big problem with this show is because again I do love this episode. I thought it was beautifully shot. It's a beautiful show. Like
Yes,
it is
yes,
wonderful to look at. Um, I think my big problem kind of stems from a Marvel thing, and that Marvel thing is Marvel, in my opinion, except from barring one or two shows, doesn't work good in series format. Moon Knight and Loki are the exceptions. Loki was the obvious; it had to be a series. If you did that in a movie, it'd be too much. In a
right.
movie, you'd be overloaded with ideas and whatnot. Moon Knight, you could have made a movie. Easily could have made that into a 2-hour movie. But my problem with the MCU is it really only works in a movie format.
Right, because it's
And
easier to blend um the characterization, the personalization, us connecting with the character while also
yeah,
building out a cinematic universe. That's why Loki is so good in my opinion, is because A, it's a great character study of Loki and Loki's, and it's also a really compelling story that sets up the future of the MCU.
yeah,
Moon Knight, while it doesn't set up the future of the MCU, it's a damn good character study. Like it's one of the
hmm
better character studies we've got in the MCU, in my opinion.
yeah,
With Miss Marvel, I think it's a great character study and a great introduction for a lot of people into Pakistani culture, and that's what I really appreciate about it. I read somebody's comment about it. It's like watching Peter Parker's story through a different culture's eyes and a different uh,
yeah.
person. Obviously being Kamala. Uh, so it's just the show is what it is. Like I don't think it's definitely not the worst MCU project. I can't say that
No,
because
and I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't even say in like the bottom like 10 bad MCU projects.
no, I don't think I
It's
would either.
it's good, but I think I said this like either 2 episodes or in the last episode. The problem with this show is it is just so unbelievably average. It's it's just like it's just okay. Like it's not bad. It doesn't like, oh, I the MCU's gone to shit because of the series. No, it's just it's okay. It's okay. And I think another kind of problem that I have with the Phase 4 kind of thing is, I think it's obvious. We all know what we're leading to. We're going to Secret Wars. But if you could honestly tell me how this is going to at all impact Secret Wars, I would love it to be shown. Or how Moon Knight is going to affect Secret Wars, or how about Thor: Love and Thunder, or how about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? That had that set up. That was like putting down the mud in the concrete. Like we just gotta walk on that sidewalk of Secret Wars now. Where does Black Widow fit into all this? Where does Hawkeye fit into all this? That's kind of my problem with Thor or with the Phase 4 is that so far, let's be real, how many projects have we gotten? Round
Thir-
about 13,
Close to it, yeah. I think 13.
and only 3 of them matter.
Like WandaVision, Loki, and Doctor
Oh,
Strange.
oh, I was gonna say Spider-Man: No Way Home because it was like the
Oh, No Way
first.
Home. Well, you could include
Or
WandaVision.
sorry, I was gonna say because technically WandaVision was the true first thing to introduce us to the multiverse because it was Wanda hearing 838's Billy and Tommy. fine, sure, but like again, I think the fact that less than half of these
Like, I would literally
projects.
tell people if they wanted to watch Phase 4, just literally watch Loki, No Way Home, and Multiverse of Madness, and you're good.
No, I'd say and WandaVision because you kind of need to know the motivation to why Wanda's all of a sudden a crooked person.
Sure, and then whatever else interests you, watch it.
Eh,
Like, I think watch
yeah,
Shang-Chi, like, that's a good
yeah,
movie. That's a banner of a
yeah.
film. But, like,
Eternals optional.
yeah, but, like, yeah, just the way I feel. Like, there's
Yeah,
been really good character studies, like with
yeah.
Moon Knight, with this show. But I want to ask you now,
Hawkeye. Don't leave out my boy Hawkeye dealing with the past of
we still
Ronan.
haven't gotten a real, like, solo Hawkeye project yet.
No, but I think he's on the way out of the MCU. So I think what we got was good.
What did he do?
He dealt with Yelena. He dealt with his past. Dealt with being Ronan.
I'm joking.
That also was never explained how Val knew. But
I'm
whatever.
joking. I gotta ask
Whatever.
you, what is your favorite part of this episode?
Dude, I think it's just the ending of the episode. But
I
I
know.
also just think that's my least favorite part of the episode also because it's such a good wrap up. Like, wow, the family's together, Kamran and Bruno make up and whatnot. And then it sets up, a potential season 2 of, Kamala has to get back to New Jersey and help Kamran. Maybe set him up as a potential villain. No, we'll do that next episode. And it's like, honestly, I'm just like, am I bummed we haven't seen the Miss Marvel suit yet? No, not at all. I
She's
don't.
gonna get it. I mean, we
She's.
saw the necklace.
We saw the necklace. We know she gets her suit because we've seen it in the behind the scenes. We see it in the
Yeah.
trailers. But it's just like, this was such a good just wrap up story. Like everybody felt like I forgot his name. Oh, Kareem. Perfect send off for him. We'll see him again. We could.
Yeah.
Kareem will return in Miss Marvel season 2. Like stuff like that. Like everything felt so concluded that it was just like, this was a great way to end the story. Not because we have another episode.
I think the best way I could put it is like we've started in New Jersey, so we got to finish the story in New Jersey. She kind of has to. I would say it's not a perfect ending because she kind of has to. While she's redeemed herself to her family, right? She's kind of proven herself to the family, I guess, or been accepted by the family. She now has to be accepted by the Muslim and Pakistani community that lives in New Jersey, who at the last time we saw them were not big fans of Nightlight, as we're calling her right now.
Also, by the
So
way,
now she's got to redeem
fa-
herself.
the fact that Kamala's mom was just like hating on Nightlight, and then she's like, "Oh, you're Nightlight? Awesome, cool.
Dope.
I support you. I've always supported you."
But no, I kind of like that because that scene is fantastic to me because it's different lineages and different iterations of parenting, right? Sana was somebody who kind of just is the equivalent of a parent who just let their kid live, right? Just let them live their life. Weren't overprotective, weren't overbearing. And Kamala's mother longed for that. She longed for connection with her mother. Obviously, the mother-daughter being a very important relationship in a young girl's life, and she longed for that. She didn't get that. So for her, psychologically, as a parent, she wanted to be that type of mother who was always with her daughter, always knew the ins and outs. And to an extent, she pushed that boundary. She was overprotective. She was too much in Kamala's business, didn't allow Kamala to grow. And I just love that whole scene where they realized their flaws, but also realized that with those flaws, they help create good people, right? Such a really well done scene about acceptance and loving the people in your life for what they did, accepting the good, and acknowledging that even the bad, even when you deem something bad, there's a valuable lesson in that. So I thought that scene was fantastically done. And I think in the next episode, we get kind of the redemption for both Carmen and Kamala. I think Kamala will be now seen as a hero in the Pakistani and Muslim community in New Jersey. And probably she's gonna probably fight the Department of Damage Control, which doesn't excite me.
Such a like mini boss in a video game villain. She's trying to
Right.
fight the Department of Damage Control. Like,
Like she's gonna have to like prove her way out of it. Like
and it's
I don't
so
know, that stupid girl who's friends with the detective from No Way Home. Like that's such a generic like bad cop duo that I'm like, oh my god, I can already know how it's gonna play out. She's gonna defeat those Stark. I think those are Stark drones, right?
yeah,
That they've
yeah,
repurposed.
yeah.
Um, and then she's gonna save the city, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, we're not gonna go after you now. We see how much your community values you." It's gonna end some corny way like that, I think, which I don't love.
I
Uh,
honestly, a way that I would love the series to end, as bad as this would be, or not bad, as weird as this would be, is to have Kamala's identity get exposed. Now, hear me out on this, because assuming in the Marvels she gets her actual powers, her embiggen powers and whatnot, then she could use them to shapeshift like she does in the comics to hide herself. My problem with
also,
this,
also Carol Danvers cameo next week.
yes, oh, dude, I'm sorry. This finale needs something because again, I feel like
I'm
this is
just saying,
such a
like as a
good
post
wrap up.
credit scene.
Something because you know how weird it would be to just be like, because at this point, like the only reason why Captain Marvel would like know of Miss Marvel is the name. And could you imagine Miss Marvel being or Captain Marvel being like, "Oh, I really need help with this. Let me go get a teenager from New Jersey instead of Doctor fucking Strange or Wong or Hawkeye or the bug themed crime fighters like who she actually fought with.
Or the people in space. The people in
Oh,
space are like
Guard
10 times more powerful than
Guardian,
the people
yeah,
on Earth.
Guardians,
Well, I'm just talking about even people like we
Asgardians.
don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like there's a shit ton of like species and superheroes we haven't explored out there.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, how are you gonna make how? That's gonna be my problem. Is like, how are you gonna justify Captain Marvel needing Kamala Khan?
Well, I think it could like I literally think it could just be they happen to
Yeah.
Kamala
Well,
just happens to stumble on Earth. So the other thing though is like I don't know if we're necessarily gonna get like a direct tie-in into the Marvels because before the Marvels, kind of the prequel to that is Secret Invasion, right? So like we need to kind of have the events of Secret Invasion play out
yeah.
in order for the Marvels to be set up. So like it would be kind of weird if I mean they could explain that like this show takes place after Secret Invasion, right? And that could and
Yeah,
that could be
no.
the explanation. But then that would make me literally question everything because Secret Invasion is basically going to be about Skrulls becoming superheroes. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I think
Yeah,
Kamala's meeting with Carol will be in the Marvels. I don't think we're going to see it next week.
no. Like my thing is maybe Carol Danvers finds the other bangle. You know, maybe
Okay.
maybe she somehow gets a lock on it, and she's been trying to find the other person who has the other bangle.
Okay.
Maybe that's it. Because remember we found the bangle in a place related to the Ten Rings.
Hmm.
Maybe she needs the bangle to do experiments to do research on the Ten Rings that Shang-Chi has.
Hmm.
You know, who knows? Who knows? I think right now with me, I honestly just like I've been thinking about it. You know, where do you think the MCU is going to go after Secret Wars?
Oh, I've got no clue. I've literally
Because
have no clue. But
my thing is
I don't want
this.
to go off on a tangent. I
Well,
want to just
no,
stay on
because
the episode.
my thing is this. With where the MCU has been going, well, it's obvious we're going to Secret Wars, but I don't know if you're getting this impression. We're awfully close to it, right?
Well, obviously, I mean we've already talked about incursions, which was a
Yeah,
big thing Hickman stuff in the Marvel comics. The Illuminati, like the creation of the Illuminati itself, in the 838 universe is very similar to the Marvel comics, why they were created. Except it was the twist that Strange was the reason that the incursions were happening, or that's what the Illuminati deemed. I like we've already gotten He Who Remains. Everybody keeps saying it's a Doctor Doom and Reed Richards story. I get that, but it's not. It's not going to be that. I'm
No.
sorry. It's just not going to be that. Like,
Yeah.
suck it up. It's just not going to be that.
Because my thing with this is just like where the MCU goes next. It's weird because you think Secret Invasion. That's one of the Marvel's biggest stories of all time. Is going to most likely be a 6-episode miniseries on Disney Plus.
Well, right, but those events will obviously cascade throughout the MCU, and it will be something that is explored more.
Maybe.
Um, it's going to be the big plot for the Marvels. So at least in 2 projects, you're getting it.
Yeah. But it's like
Uh,
with where the MCU could go. I mean, it's like
but to get, that's a whole nother discussion. But to get back to this episode, let's kind of wrap up our discussion with it. What are your final thoughts?
kind of just what I was saying. I don't know where we go from here. Because we're gonna fight Department of Damage Control next episode? They're like level 100 thugs, and Kamala's level 75 mugger. Like I don't know what to think for the next episode. I just felt so concluded in this episode.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Obviously, I think the last step for Kamala is to be accepted by a community, like I was saying. So I think that's a big point. She's got to fix her relationship with Nakia, right? Because Nakia's pretty upset that she was lied to.
She's
There's a lot
got
of stuff.
she's got to fix it with Nakia. She's got to fix her relationship with Bruno. She's got to something's got to happen with Kamran. Something.
Kamran, yeah, right. Kamran, I think, will accept the fact that he can be a good person, and not be like his mother. I
But
think those two will definitely have a relationship. I don't think he's gonna be a villain. I
my
definitely don't
problem
think
is
that.
this: is it's just like this whole thing that he might go in a story about him going on being like he could be better than his mom. He was never bad. He was
Right.
he was never bad. He never did anything bad. All he think probably the worst thing he did was bring Kamala to his mom, but even then she wasn't in any danger.
And he was
It's,
also manipulated. So
yeah, and so it's just like, was that bad or was that just like manipulation? Can you blame Can you blame being bad for being manipulated?
no, I think though, yeah, I get that. I can understand that, but I definitely think he's going to be a good person. It's also going to be about him holding in his powers and them two trying to save their community. Because the department, I don't know, the Department of Damage Control is just going to be dickheads and try to arrest both of them, I assume. Again, we still do not know the reason why the Department of Damage Control is going after them. That's
Yeah,
another big problem for me. Like it could literally just be a simple line of like the Sokovia Accords. Like I get it. I know it would upset some people because like the Sokovia Accords matter and they don't matter sometimes. But it'd be cool to just have that little tie-in. Or they could say we don't want any children with enhanced superpowers. Okay then. But give me a simple line of why they're going after her. Again, the problem with this show, it excels in writing with what it wants to do, which is to tell a story about a family and family acceptance. But everything else
yeah,
it's lacking. It has good ideas,
yeah,
good concepts, but they either fall apart or
yeah.
aren't well established.
I have something that if I were to make the Department of Damage Control more interesting, I would have a great way to do it. And it would bring in my favorite story from Marvel, or not my favorite story, but one of my favorites, and you probably know what it is. It's Young Avengers. One of the things that we could easily tie this into is and this is going to be going on my big brainwave theory if they want to make Department of Damage Control, of why are they so interested in these young, enhanced people? Why were they so into Spider-Man? Why were they so into
Hey
Miss
yo,
Marvel? I know. in the miners, bro. Come on, Cleany or whatever your name is. Get away from the miners. Think you could say Sword when they were taking apart Vision. Vision
Right.
in the comics makes the Young Avengers protocol, which in the event that the Earth's mightiest heroes fall, a new generation would immediately take over.
Mm-hmm.
And I could easily see a thing where Vision, before he dies in Infinity War, or in Westview or whatever Westview Vision, whatever, he made a list of enhanced individuals, kids, and he had the protocol on standby in the event something bad happened. So in the event he survived Infinity War with the Mind Stone being taken out successfully without him dying, he could still, do whatever. And then you could understand, oh, Kamala was on that list. Vision just knew because it could be the same thing like Hydra knew about Stephen Strange like 2 years before, or 2 or 3 years before he became Master of the Mystic Arts.
Correct.
So you could easily say, oh, Vision with the use of the Mind Stone was able to detect enhanced humans, and the DODC got a hold of that list of kids, and they've been basically put under government watch from afar. And now all of a sudden Spider-Man's a problem, and then all of a sudden Kamala Khan's a problem. So we could easily see a Young Avengers story where the Department of Damage Control just got a whiff of Vision's Young Avengers protocol.
I like that. I like that a lot. So for me, I'm going to give this episode 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, it really excels with the family dynamic. I love the flashback. The partition story was really well done, really heartfelt. But again, the show really lacks with the explanation for powers and power sets and what's actually happening of substance. But the show does excel with what it wants to do, which is to tell a story about family acceptance.
Yeah, absolutely. I give this episode I'd say an 8. I was going between an 8.5 and an 8. I'll give it an 8. It was really good. Again, I think Miss Marvel's just gotten exponentially better.
Yep.
However, we're still only at an 8. So
I got a follow-up question. You said last week that right now you would give the show overall a 5 out of 10. Has it moved from that?
Probably like a 5.5 to a 6 out of 10.
Okay. So like Bad Batch level.
Yeah. Just again, with Bad Batch, it was really the first episode, some of the middle episodes, and then like a few of the end episodes were really good. Then we didn't get some great episodes. So again, I think with the Bad Batch, it was all right. And I feel the same way about Miss Marvel. It's all right.
Okay. I think that is totally fair. So let's now move into our second main topic. I'm really excited for this. This is going to be our Thor: Love and Thunder preview. Alex is going to ask me some questions. We're going to answer them and give our predictions about the film before it releases. I will be seeing it Friday for sure. Alex doesn't know, but
I'm finding out tomorrow. So it will be. It's like 85%. I'll be seeing it Friday.
Awesome. So we will, if that's the case, we will be reviewing it Friday night after we see it, which is beneficial because we'll be instilled right into our minds. Yes. Go ahead, blast it away. First question.
My questions are out of order. So okay. I'm gonna have to piece it together. Okay, we'll just kind of put the first two questions I have in one. What worries and what excites you about this movie?
What excites me about this film? We get to finally see an OG6 member in a movie again. I mean, obviously we got Black Widow and Hawkeye, but it's been a while since we've seen one of the big three, right? It's been since 2019. Obviously, I've included Thor, Cap, and Tony in that. Obviously, Tony is deceased, and Cap is MIA. We have no idea. So it's nice to see Thor again. I'm really excited to see what his adventures have been with the Guardians. And Christian Bale. I think this is one of the best acquisitions Marvel has made. Obviously, he might be the best actor the MCU has ever gotten.
Yeah,
So
100% on that.
I'm really excited to see how he steps into this universe. Obviously, he's great as the Batman. And he's just great in everything else he's in. So I'm really curious to see how good he is as a villain, as Gore the God Butcher. I'm sure Christian did his due diligence and researched the character and really will embody that role as he has with many other roles he's taken on. So those are the two things I'm really excited for. What worries me, um, Jane Foster. Now
Yeah.
I say that because and I think Natalie Portman's great. I think she's the second best actor in this film. Just behind Christian Bale. I think she's fantastic in mostly everything she's in, but she hasn't been given a great story, and it's been a while since she's been in this franchise, right? It's been since the Dark World. I mean, we saw her in Endgame, right? But since
Yeah.
she's actually had lines of dialogue, it's been since 2014. So I don't know. I'm really interested in where they take her story, but I'm worried that it's going to feel a little bit rushed, a little bit convoluted. Um, I don't worry about Natalie's performance. I just worry about her story being rushed and
Yeah.
me not being invested in it. Because after rewatching Thor and Thor: The Dark World, the relationship's pretty bad. It doesn't feel really authentic to me.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't work for me that well. So I hope that relationship, that aspect works. I know Natalie's gonna be great, but I hope Taika really did his due diligence and made sure specifically that that was a highlight of the film. I know he talks about a lot this being a romantic, more of a romantic story.
Mhm.
So I think he'll do well with it, but I am a little bit worried about her story being a little rushed.
Yeah. For me personally, when it comes to what I'm worried about, I think what overall I'm worried about most of all is just because I'm going to get to my excitement because it'll be quick. But my worry is honestly, I'm just really worried about it's really gore. Uh, we hear a lot of good things about him from people who saw the movie, but for me, Gore is such a pivotal character to Thor's character. And that's gonna come up in a later question. You know, I really hope they get Gore right. Every time we see him in the trailers, he's really good. Um, so I hope he lives up to my hope for him. On my again, my philosophy with going into movies: expect it's MJ's line from No Way Home: expect disappointment, and you can never be disappointed. Um, but with Gore, man, again, he's such an important character to Thor's lore in the comics that it's just like I hope this movie does him justice. Another thing is the runtime. Marvel movies lately have been having a very bad runtime problem where they're rushing things, not enough is getting put into it. We're not getting enough story because the credits need to be 85 minutes long and the movie needs to be 2 hours. And so my thing is I really hope this 2 hours doesn't feel like it's going to be a shit show.
Well, it's an
So,
hour 59, the film
yeah.
itself. So take away 12 minutes. It's about 12 minutes for credits. So about
Mhm.
like an hour and 45-minute story.
And in that
So
time, you
yeah.
have to establish Gore as a menacing villain. You have to establish Thor. You have to establish the mighty Thor. You have to establish Valkyrie. You have to establish Korg, New Asgard. Just too much, and I worry that the film isn't going to get enough time to breathe. It seems Disney saw the rise of Skywalker and was just like, "We'll just
But
do that, but again."
we talked about this after we watched Ragnarok. Taika is definitely an all killer no filler type of
Yeah,
filmmaker. There is a lot of stuff that happens. There is no downtime,
yeah,
even in emotional or very
hmm
important moments, like with that Thor and Loki scene in the elevator, where Thor's like, "Yeah, I kind of just accept who you are now." Um, there's still like there's still stuff happening. There's still
Yeah.
substance. They don't just slow down and have a long dialogue. It's quick, but it gets to the point. So I understand the concern about runtime.
Yeah.
I get it, but I think we buy sometimes too much into runtimes. I think we do.
Maybe. But my other thing is just like, again, with Thor Ragnarok in mind, again, and I remember we said this a lot when we rewatched it. Wow, it's only been 20 minutes and a lot has happened. Wow, it's only been
Right.
25 minutes and it's only been 30 minutes and a lot has happened. And so for me, I'm just like, I really, really hope we don't have to kind of get that same thing where it's just like, wow, it's 45 minutes and 90 people have died. And all of a sudden we're like, stuff like that. And so that's just a hope for me, is that the runtime isn't too bad, and doesn't detriment this movie with pacing and whatnot. The
Got it.
excitement, I mean, dude, it's the movie in general. Like my
Ooh,
first
yeah.
my first Thor movie in theaters, bro. This will be my first big 3 movie in theaters. And so it's just like, I'm excited, you know? This will be my first like massive character theater. Doctor Strange was big, Spider-Man was big, but this is Thor, like big 3 Thor. So that's what excites me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got anything else for that?
No, I don't got anything else for those.
All right. This kind of piggybacks off the worries you, but does the 73% Rotten Tomato score make you uneasy or worried?
No,
Now, granted, that is the critics' score, not the audience review.
not at all. Because
No.
we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Critics are evaluating movies based on criteria for just general films,
Yeah.
right? Just general films. Superhero films are different, right? And
Mhm.
also, it's Taika's filmmaking. It's very much going. It's going to have a lot of humor. It's going to be very comedic.
Mhm.
So if that's not your cup of tea for a superhero film, hey, it's fine. I like Taika's sensibilities. I think he's really good with blended humor with important moments.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, and I love like things like the Batman. That's just extremely dark, and that's
Yeah.
fine. So it's all interpretations. Um, a lot of people just like to crap on the MCU. A lot of people are MCU fanboys. So like, it's a
Yeah.
balance. I don't really care what somebody else says. I mean, I do care because I like to have discussion, but I don't care what somebody else says in the fact that it's going to alter my opinion. It's not going to alter my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think, for me, no, I'm not worried. Again, we kind of talked about this. Rotten Tomatoes, their scoring is never truly accurate. Because again, if we look at things like The Last Jedi, we kind of talked about this even with the audience review. Those are never really true representations. Because I can guarantee you, 40% of people in the world, it's not only 40% of people in the world like The Last Jedi. It's a much higher
Right.
majority, but it's of people who took the time to review it. And again, we have to remember that, if we look at critics reviewing, Miss Marvel has a 96%. Does it for you live up to a 96%?
No, I don't think so.
Exactly. And so it's just like, not to crap on Miss Marvel, but it's just like, you can't always take audience or critics reviews again literally, because again, we also have to remember that episode Revenge of the Sith has a 66%, and I just don't believe that. So yeah, that's my thing. No, it doesn't worry me. I'll probably like this movie regardless, even if I'm just like, I had a bit of problems with some stuff. So yeah, you got
Yeah.
anything to add on?
No, I don't.
Now we're getting into the story questions. Okay.
Mm.
Now I don't know how much you know because I know you're really into the leaks and whatnot. So if you do know, just don't spoil it. But Drew, my big question for you, you know, Null is one of the big people who helps Gore gets the Necro Sword in the comics. How will he get it in this movie? How do you think he'll get it? Because I think we can both assume Null will not make an appearance in this movie. He is a Sony property. So, what do you think?
Um, I think his origins going to be along the same lines as what it is in the comics. So if you don't know, Gore, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gore's from a desolate planet that can
Yep.
barely sustain life. His people are nomadic. They very much believe in gods. And Gore's pissed because basically his whole family dies. Like his wife, his child dies, and then he happens to stumble upon two gods fighting. And they're using the all black necro sword, and the two gods die, and then he possesses it, and then he goes on a rampage, killing all the gods to avenge his family.
Yeah.
I think it will happen similarly to the way it does in the comics. I think his
Yeah.
backstory is going to be tragic like that. It just won't involve Null. It will
Yeah.
just have the all black necro sword. Now, I do want to ask you a question that goes along with this. How, timeline wise, how do you think this works? How long do you think he's had this thing?
I think we will see Gore kind of in his prime of killing gods. So I think he'll at maximum have it for 3 years, and I think for at minimum he'll have had it for at least 1 year. Because you don't.
So he's had it like during the events of
when we meet him, he'll either have had it for a year, or he's gonna have it for at least 3 years. Because my thing is, when you first get that sword, there ain't no way in hell you're killing that big of a beast like he presumably did from the trailers. You're not gonna kill that in your first month of having that sword. You're gonna need to know how to do some stuff with it. And then we know that sword
and also we do see him become more like corrupted. He gets like darker in
I was gonna
skin.
say, I think when we see him make his vow that all gods will die, I think that's when he gets the sword.
Yeah.
And then as we see him get ready to fight Thor, that's when we're gonna notice the scarring and whatnot. Because I think in this movie we're gonna see him killing gods. Like we're gonna see him over time killing gods. Like 3 years ago he killed this god, and then 2 years ago he killed these gods. So yeah, I think it's gonna be the same way. He's gonna kill some god, but it just won't be Null.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Now my thing for you is, I don't know if you know the storyline, so I will explain it. I'll just explain it regardless, for people who don't know it. The question is, do you think we will see the unworthy Thor story play out in this story?
No.
You don't. Do you know the story? Just before I get into explaining.
I do kind of know it, but if you want to explain it, go ahead. Yeah.
So, what the unworthy Thor story is Thor, after his battle with Gore, he would go on sometimes still being a hero, but then Nick Fury would tell him that Gore was right and all gods should be killed. This immediately goes into sending Thor into a deep depression state where he doubts himself as a god, and his insecurities take over, and basically brings him to the point he no longer is able to wield Mjolnir. And I don't think we're gonna get the true unworthy and basically also over time during this, I should also explain, Jane gets cancer and becomes worthy of the powers of Thor, while Mjolnir has nobody. So that's why Jane becomes worthy, is because Thor is not worthy anymore. So probably should have mentioned that before I go on this next tyrant. But the other thing to note is, I don't think we're going to see the exact stories of Gore being the reason why he's unworthy. I think I don't remember if she survived the blip or not. She might have. Actually, now thinking about it, hold on. Did Jane Foster survive the snap? Oh, she did. She did die during the blip. So I think what might have happened is, that's probably going to, honestly, her cancer, I think, me and you might agree, comes from the ether. I think we can agree that's probably the source of why she gets cancer, is the ether.
I would agree with that.
And so I think maybe the ether Because we're gonna see God, we're gonna see big powerful people, the Living Tribunal, to the Watcher, or we're at least gonna see their statues in other cosmic people, and I think they're gonna see Jane maybe. Um, she gets an Infinity Stone sucked out of her, so they might have to do something where they can make the damage not irreversible, but stop it for a time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when she powers up as Thor. And so I think maybe that's what we'll see is maybe during like when she comes back, Thor is still recovering from being dad bod Thor, and they need someone to take over if he's going to be out and go off with the Guardians. So that's at least how I think it'll happen. I think we'll get implied that during the blip it was unworthy Thor, but I don't think it's going to be because of Gore.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go with that because I think we already kind of have Thor becoming unworthy of Mjolnir, right? The first Thor film. I mean, he's got to kind of earn his title back. So I
But
don't think they're gonna go that
but
route.
I don't. But again, that's different to unworthy Thor. Unworthy Thor is him basically. He is told that he's not worthy, and he believes it. So he just basically spirals out into depression over being told that God should be murdered, and he is a god. Versus Thor 1, he was stripped of his powers and then had to earn them back.
Yeah, sure. I doubt they're gonna go that route. Um, but yeah, it's for sure an interesting idea.
Yeah. I hope they adapt it because I mean, they're gonna probably adapt the Jane part. She has cancer, and being powering up with as Thor is what kind of holds the cancer back. So I think we can agree on that that's probably what they'll adapt from the Unworthy, but I don't think we'll see like beat for beat Unworthy.
Yeah.
My next question for you is it's kind of a big question, so we might need some time to answer. What do you hope to see from Thor, Jane, Gore, the Guardians, and the other side characters? Like, what do you want to see them do in this movie?
The side characters.
Everyone. What do you want to see from them in this movie?
It's something I touched on with when we rewatched Ragnarok, but in the case of Thor, I want him to go back to that Ragnarok level of power, right? We kind of reverted back to him just he needs a thing to harness his lightning, right? With Stormbreaker. I mean Stormbreaker's great because he can essentially travel across the universe now
Yeah.
with that. So that's dope. But I want him to again continue to becoming more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get to a point feel like with him where he's just like not untouchable, but like to the point where like he would put up a fight with people like Doctor Strange. Like he's got to
Yeah.
become that powerful. I feel like.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, I think I originally thought that they were going to lean in more until the idea that he was going to just call himself Odin's son. After this film, he wasn't going to be taking up the mantle of Thor. I don't think that now, but yeah, I think for him it's just about becoming more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I won't say he's arced out necessarily, but like for him, it's kind of close to it.
Yeah.
With Gore, I kind of want to see a complex and interested story about somebody who's lost everything and is trying to avenge it. Um, so obviously a sympathetic villain, but at the same time, he's an absolute menace to society.
Mm-hmm.
Jane, I want a compelling story, just something compelling with her. There's not a lot there. She's an astrophysicist. That's it. Like,
Yeah.
let's have a more compelling, more romantic story with her and Thor. New Asgard, it's got to be something we establish, right? How does Earth feel about it? How does the Asgardian people feel about being a part of Earth? How do they adapt to try to survive this in this planet, and how do they adapt to the role of government? How is Valkyrie doing as the king or queen, or whatever you want to say, of Asgard? How does she adapt to that? Um, Korg just be the comedic relief. Um, yeah, and for characters like Zeus and stuff, what's the hierarchy of gods, right? Because this is not a big spoiler, so I won't. It's not Olympus. It's basically a place where all the gods chill, right? Because obviously we see in an image we see Bast, right? We see Bast, the panther god. So this is
Hmm.
a place where a bunch of gods chill. Um, so what's the hierarchy? What's the power set with these gods? Maybe a little bit about them. Why didn't they help out when Thanos was around? Like, what are they up to? That sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. I think with me, what I want to see from everyone is like with Thor. Again, I'd like to see the unworthy Thor, especially just because he loses his arm and gets a cybernetic arm, and I want to see cybernetic arm Thor. But beggars can't be choosers. Um, so yeah, I just hope we get a good complex Thor story. Again, I kind of feel the same way we kind of said it after Ragnarok. He's a little arced out after Endgame. He's just because it kind of just sets up. Oh, I'm going to go on some adventures, and that's it. He's kind of reconciled with Loki. He's reconciled with the Avengers. So it's just really just him and Jane that needs reconciling. From Jane, they got to really make this relationship better because it was not it was not good in those first two movies. For Gore, I just want a compelling villain. Just we've heard everybody saying he's amazing and whatnot. But for me, what I want in terms of amazing is because we hear that we sympathize with him. So that's what I want to do. I want to be able to sympathize with the villain because that's always the best kind of villains are the sympathetic villains.
Right.
You can sympathize with why they're doing what they're doing. With the Guardians, I just don't even know what to think of the Guardians. Like, what do I want them to do? I hope they're not in the movie the entire time. I hope they're kind of like first act and done kind of deal. We're gonna see them next year in Guardians Volume 3. So let's let them take their course and in this movie, and then we'll go see them again in a few months for Guardians.
Right.
But for New Asgard and King Valkyrie, Korg, and all them, I just hope they're a good supportive cast. Um,
Yep.
I hope we don't have any moments where I'm just like, because kind of during Ragnarok I had a little bit of this where I'm just like, wow, I want to go see what Korg is doing. I don't really care about what Thor's doing in his room where he shares it with Hulk, where he sees Hulk naked. I want to go
Right.
listen to what Korg has to say. So I hope we don't get any overshining moments with some of these side characters. I hope they get a good story, but I hope there's no overshining. So
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
my next question for you, Mr. Drew, is apart from Thor and the mighty Thor, if you want to count her, what other gods will we see? Now we know of a few, so we can name them off. Again, we'll see Thor. I don't know if you want to count mighty Thor as a god. Demi.
No, I would like say that's like just the
She
human that she's got. Okay, okay. Doctor Strange says it perfectly. He has the power of the gods. She has the
yeah.
power of the gods. She's not born a god.
Yeah. Um Zeus, boss.
Right.
Who else though? Who else do you want? What other gods do you want to see? Do you want to see any specific gods be introduced just to kill them off by gore?
Hercules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hercules.
Hercules.
I mean, Hercules and Thor have a great relationship in the comics, and there's a great it's in the Avengers Forever storyline that leads up into Secret Wars, and it's them going to find God Emperor Doom, and it's like Thor literally could not hold up Mjolnir. He's lost his left arm. Hercules and him make a last stand, and that's kind of how I want Thor's story to end in Secret Wars, if I'm being honest with you. with him and Hercules. So I want Thor and Hercules because their relationship in the comics is pretty funny, and I think it would be really good.
Yeah.
I also would not put it past Taika Waititi to put in Korgs, gods.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I don't really know who else that I want to see. There is one god.
The Living
Loki.
Tribunal.
No. Loki. You know the one god. If I could bring them into the MCU, I would. I want to bring Demiurge into the MCU, but that will never. I'm telling you right now, this is my big bet for the MCU to go
Wait,
on.
do you have a question about this? Okay, I gotta ask this as resident
Okay.
Loki stan, as him being my favorite MCU character.
Okay.
Do you think we see him? Like in flashback form or something?
Maybe because we know we.
I would.
I
I'm
don't.
gonna stand up in the theater.
I don't know.
I'm gonna stand up
Because
in the.
you know how there are some shots that are like just made for trailers. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but like the thing of like Thor running and it goes from him as a kid to
Right.
comic accurate Thor to then
Yeah.
Avengers or Thor 1 Thor.
Right. Right.
Maybe I think that was just made for trailers, but could you imagine we see like some flashbacks of him and Loki? Oh, I'd love it. Oh,
Well, I
I'd
think
love
we're
it.
gonna get Thor and Thor the Dark World flashbacks to show Jane's relationship. So maybe we just see him.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll stand up and clap. Yes.
Yes.
Loki.
The
Loki.
king has returned.
Your
what
savior
I'll say.
is here. Oh no, am I losing Alex? Alex, come back. Or are we losing me? Alex. Let's see. No.
Oh, there we go. Here I am.
We lost you.
We have had really bad thunderstorms. Like we got under severe thunderstorm warning, and we got under flash flood warnings last night at like 3 a.m. So bear with the internet. It's been a little shoddy over the last day, and the thunderstorm is about to start again. So
I will be so happy if we see Loki. That's my final thoughts on that.
I'll cry. But again, to go on my little side thing, if I could bring any god, it'd be Demiurge. But
right.
Again, there are some characters from the comics they'll just never bring over. The power threshold is, for the comic's sake, too small in the MCU.
Right.
Which seems really sad to say because Scarlet Witch did what she did.
Listen, I'll say this. With Loki, my dream would obviously to be like, and this is not the post-credit scenes. I know them. If one of the post-credit scenes, hypothetically, was him walking through a TVA door, I would have gone. I would have just ran out.
Could you imagine? It's TVA Loki from season 1 walking in from a portal to Thor. I need your help, brother. One last crazy adventure. I'd be crying my eyes out.
That would be nuts.
I know.
But yeah. Loki needs his own story told in his own show.
Yeah, and it's not even our Loki, so it's like, who cares? I care, but like,
I love him. It's why he's superior Loki.
No, honestly, I hope we meet. I hope we see that Loki on Asgard from the trailer. I hope that's his name is Superior Loki. Kind of a nod to Superior Iron Man and whatnot. Whatever. Okay, Drew. We saw in a trailer for a very brief cameo, the Celestials appear. What other characters do you want to make those kind of cameos? Like maybe when we're seeing the place where all the gods are, like what gods do you want to see? Like you said Hercules, but like maybe do you think we'll see Khonshu? Do you think we'll maybe see Amit? Who do you think we are going?
It would be so funny if we saw Khonshu. Actually,
Khonshu,
now they
yes.
Actually,
and Jake.
Actually, I want to see Khonshu now because that would just be funny. I just love Khonshu. I think that'd be funny.
Yes. I didn't sign up for this. Yeah, I think maybe do you think we could see Odin and Frigga? Do you think this is the gods that are living
No,
and
no, no, no,
dead?
no, 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 no. I don't know. They're in Valhalla.
Hmm, maybe, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I
Who do you
want to
want to
see
see?
Khonshu. I want to see Khonshu. Um,
I just want to be like,
maybe
he would be so funny. I know with Taika's writing and like
yes,
him, he would say something stupid.
yes, absolutely. I don't know. Maybe just some more Egyptian gods. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine we see Jesus there? We just see everyone. We just see every god imaginable. Oh, I was gonna say something, but I can't say that on stream. There's a line. There's a line I can't cross. And it's the line I was about to. I'm gonna message you in chat, and I'm gonna.
That'd be a
Dude,
sick joke.
that'd be the funniest thing ever. But
That
it
would be a
would
sick
it would
joke.
never pass in any theater. You would see so many people get up and walk out.
I would die laughing.
I would too. All right,
Yeah.
so we
How many
want to
questions we
see
got left? We've answered a lot of questions. Or not a lot of questions, but
three
we've had a
more.
lot of answers. Okay.
But yeah,
These are great questions.
that's my. I want to see Khonshu
Yeah.
really bad with Taika's writing too. Oh, love it. The big question that I know you have some bold predictions on. We have a bold predictions question. Spoiler alert for the last question. But big thing, who dies in this movie? Who is going to bite the dust? I think you and I have two predictions. One of them we both like very hardcore.
You go
think,
first
yeah,
on this one.
Zeus.
Okay.
I think he's an obvious. And then this is one I really don't want to see. I think we're going to see Gore die.
Yeah, I 100% think we're going to see Gore die because,
And I
again,
really
Gore
don't want
is not as much as he could be a supernatural or Avengers level or whatever level
Yeah.
threat, he's really only a Thor villain.
Yeah.
So,
And
like,
and
I think he very much is going to die. Plus,
Yeah.
I don't know if Christian Bale wants to play this character for 4 years. I think they
And
paid him a lot for this film.
The
He's
other
gonna die.
thing to note about Gore is with Gore in the comics, he is a one run of comics villain. He's not everlasting. He doesn't come back. He's kind of a one and done. But the thing with Gore is it's not about what Gore does to Thor. It's about the lasting effects of fighting Gore does to him. You know, it sends him into the unworthy Thor story, brings Jane as the mighty Thor. Like it's the lasting effects of Gore. And so that's why I think he's going to die. As good of a villain as I think he's going to be, I think he is going to die. So that's kind of my thing is I think he will die. I don't think Thor or Jane or Valkyrie or any of those guys. We know none of the Guardians die. What are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm nothing. I was just interested in that you guarantee none of them will die.
None of the Guardians?
Well, none of the characters you mentioned.
No, I said I don't think they'll die. I just don't see a purpose. Like Valkyrie, maybe. Are you gonna consider Korg a god? I do. He's him and Meek. Which, by the way, I think in the trailer, I think they established that Meek's a girl now. And it was definitely said that Meek is a guy multiple times in Thor Ragnarok. So who knows? One of the people who died, by the way, on Asgard in Ragnarok, I also found out are somehow alive in Endgame because they were, I think, shot or stabbed by Hela or one of her people, and they're alive in New Asgard in this movie. So
maybe they had twins.
Maybe it's the 3-headed guy. So who knows?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Oh my
answer.
God. I meant to answer this for the other question, so I'll let you answer. Then I'll go back to one of my questions to answer because I completely forgot about these people.
I agree with you about Gore. I can't say anything else.
Oh my goodness! You know, someone else dies, people. Someone else dies. It's Valkyrie. I knew it. How could you? Why would you spoil that for me? I knew it. But the question I was going to go back with, and of who else we will see like cameos, I think we'll see the actual Living Tribunal, potentially Uatu.
I would love to see a Uatu the Watcher.
I'm surprised from the moment that any of these multiversal stories have happened that he hasn't made a cameo like he does in What If.
Just see his eye.
That's it. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need Jeffrey Wright talking. You don't need to see his silhouette. Just see his eyes.
Oh my god, I've already imagined that in live action. That's so creepy. Just see him standing there. That's terrifying.
Yeah, and then like, could you imagine like a post-credit scene of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? The Clea post-credit scene, to be specific. Imagine that set at nighttime, and you see Uatu looking on from above, and you see him blink in the skyline. So the people who haven't watched What If, then it's something that's like, oh, it's probably my imagination or something.
Right.
But the people who watch What If, they're like, oh my goodness, it's Uatu. Because, you know, again, my thing with this, and even with What If Season 2, there was a whole episode of what if Uatu the Watcher broke his oath. We have not seen any lasting ramifications for that. Which I think we might see in Season 2. But, like, what are we going to do? Are we going to get a new Guardians of the Multiverse? I don't know. Because you have to think, okay? Let's put this into perspective with Multiverse of Madness. I'm sorry to go on a side tangent here. Can you think about how many incursions Uatu made?
Probably a lot.
Because let's see, he took, what was it, 6 or 7 people and put them on a new universe. He made a lot of incursions. That's all I can say. He probably destroyed like 4 universes because of that. Side tangent over. So we agree Gore dies. Who else did I say we think dies?
You think Valkyrie dies?
No, she wasn't my original. Valkyrie. Oh, Zeus. And
I'm gonna say
a bunch of Gore. And a bunch of other gods.
Gore and a bunch of other gods that Gore kills before he dies. Which, by the way, is this a question I want to ask you? Who do you think kills Gore?
Jane. I don't know why, but Jane. Why not?
I'm gonna say Thor.
Okay.
I think Thor puts the finishing blow.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine?
I think he actually goes for the head this time.
I was gonna say, could you imagine? He goes for the head, and he says, "I'm like, not again, like not making the same mistake twice." Now our last question before our bold predictions. After this movie, with our surviving people and who we think are gonna survive, where do you want to see these people go next? We'll just limit this down to like Jane and Thor. Where do you want to see these people go next?
For Thor, I guess how does this set up his journey to Secret Wars, right? Because he's got to be a big player in this, right? He's one of the strongest characters. He's like the last of the big 3. I don't think he has the leadership qualities to lead the Avengers, but like, who does he meet up with, right? Does he go back to Midgard, maybe? Does he go back and just chill in New Asgard, or does he go back to space? Like, what's up with him? Is he going to be a cosmic character? Is he going to join the Avengers again? So, like, what's his journey going to be? Or is he just going to be by himself with Jane? So that's what I'm really curious. I don't know where it's going to go. I would like him to become more of a cosmic entity, I guess. I'd like the Avengers just to deal with Earth stuff from now on, right?
Yeah.
They kind of did the whole space thing with Thanos and I just want them to be earthbound. I feel like Thor would work better as a cosmic figure now, deal with the whole cosmic realm. So
I think for me, again, you know, my favorite character, Billy Kaplan. You know, he becomes his first hero moniker is Asgardian, and he kind of mimics Thor's powers. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to see him pass down his powers to someone. Maybe he fully passes over the mantle to Jane Foster. Ooh, we know how that would go in today's age. So that's just my thing. Is I think maybe that's honestly where I'd like to see is Jane be the new Thor of the Avengers, and current Thor just kind of be maybe just like the cosmic Thor. If Captain Marvel needs help with something, she can call on him, and Earth would still have a Thor there to defend it. So that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Jane be the Avengers Thor, and current Thor be the cosmic Thor.
I like that. So, I like that a lot.
I think that's what I'd like to see. I think we could also see Thor maybe pass down Stormbreaker to her, and he get a weapon like Ultimate Mjolnir or whatever, kind of a combination of Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, or we maybe see that be made in this movie. I think we also might meet Beta Ray Bill, another Thor. And so, but I honestly think if we meet Beta, he'll be dead by the end of the movie. And so maybe that's what I think happens is again, I really like my idea of have Mighty Thor be the Earth Thor, and then have normal Thor be the cosmic Thor. Again, if the Guardians need help, if Captain Marvel needs help, if Nick Fury needs help, we have someone who can travel the galaxy and do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. And
final question. Bold predictions. What are 3 bold predictions if you can think of 3?
Oh, that is tough. I love it though. I think a personal one, Gore's gonna become my favorite villain in the MCU, like topping Thanos and Loki.
Oh, word. Okay.
Going in with high expectations. It's Christian Bale, people.
You expect disappointment, and you won't be disappointed.
Nope, I can't do that. Can't do that. It's like expecting LeBron James to drop 0 points. Just can't do that.
Expect disappointment. You can't be disappointed.
I just can't do that.
No, you can't.
I expect that this will be the second best film in the Thor franchise.
Yeah, I honestly don't see Ragnarok getting beat. It's such a good story.
And I think a Hercules and Thor storyline gets set up.
Yeah. For me, my bold predictions are New Asgard will get destroyed.
What? Whoa!
I know.
What? That's so mean to Alex.
I know the Asgardians have gotten it. They have gotten it rough in the MCU.
We've got to have a whole conversation.
I honestly would like to ask you, who do you think's got it worse? The people of the humans of Earth or the Asgardians?
Bro, the Asgardians have literally like their population has been cut in half like 3 times in the last 5 years.
Thanos killed half of them. And then
people died in Ragnarok. We know this from Loki. That people died. They stayed on Asgard and just burned when Surtur just did. So people died.
We can probably assume 75% of Asgard got out, and then half of those people died, and then the other half got blown away. And I think New Asgard's gonna get destroyed.
You think just Gore comes down and kills them?
Not kills any of them, just destroys New Asgard, and then they have to go live.
Okay. I was gonna say if more people. I don't even know how they have enough people to keep going, but like.
And then they get to go live in Texas. That's what they. Oh, do you think we can go live in Texas? That's what I want to see. Another bold prediction is I think that. I don't know. I think we could see. I think we're going to see the actual Living Tribunal. We've seen the staff of the Living Tribunal. No, we've seen the staff of the Living Tribunal. We've seen the statue. We've seen a severed head of the Living Tribunal. I think we will see the Living Tribunal in this, whether it be in the place where the gods are, whatever. And I guess in that same vein, not to make this as a separate prediction, but I guess. All the people who we've seen statues of. We know there are 8 statues there. 2 of them have been destroyed. We assume the other three that we see in that place where we see like Jane Land is Death, Eon, and Infinity. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we'll see the other ones in there. But again, because we know there is a statue next to Uatu that we just can't see, and then we know there's two that are destroyed. And so that's kind of how I'd like to maybe see it, because and then if you think about it, we have like the cosmic Illuminati where it's just like there's always going to be a decision made. You got the three heads of the living tribunal, and then the other seven members brings us out to about 10 people, and but we'll never get in. We'll most likely if they ever did that, they'd most likely never get an even vote, because I think one of the heads of the living tribunal is Revenge, and they always are the outcast vote. So who knows?
Yeah.
My last bold prediction. I think Thor will lose his arm in this movie. I don't know why. I think Thor will lose his arm. Star Wars style, baby. Hey, Star Wars had a major presence in Marvel during Phase 2. So
Yeah.
yeah, with one arm being severed in each Phase 2 movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Those are my bold predictions. Poor Asgardians. That's all I can say.
Yes. So let's go do it. You got anything else before I end it?
No, that's it.
That's gonna do it for our Thor Love and Thunder preview. What a great preview.
Yes.
Hopefully Friday or Saturday we'll review the film. Super excited. Super excited.
No,
But
yeah.
now or do you want to take a break? What do you want to do?
I think we just keep going.
All right. Let's move into our third topic. We'll talk about the Black Panther Wakanda Forever leaked images, leaked concept art that came out a few days ago. Let's pull that up.
Well,
right
yes,
here.
spoilers ahead. If you don't want to be spoiled for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, spoilers are coming ahead. So, by the way, this is my first MCU project where I honestly couldn't give next to two shits about spoilers.
So this first image right here is of Shuri and Okoye. I love Shuri's tracksuit outfit. I'm rocking this.
Yeah.
The next one, and we'll go to this one. Next one is of Namor. This looks fantastic. I am so excited for Namor. I'm so excited for
it. Super comic accurate. Looks good. Just like great design.
Riri Williams as Ironheart. Dominique Thorne.
Yeah. Looks good.
And Atuma. Atuma, if you don't know, is a common villain of Atlantis in the Marvel Comics universe. So I wonder how he's going to play here. And I want to get one more because there is another one. If I can find it. We also got a first look at Namora, as you can see right here.
Wow.
So, Alex, I think there's a couple big things we can discuss from this. Obviously, the inclusion of Atuma. We haven't heard a lot about him being in the film. A lot of us assumed that Namor was just going to be the main villain. It was going to be an Atlantis versus Wakanda battle. Atuma makes things muddied a little bit for me. I don't know if they're going to go that route now, but what do you think about all this? Because Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I am very excited for. Again, Ryan Coogler, fantastic. Black Panther, by far the best solo MCU film, by far, in my opinion. Maybe the best MCU film. I know you disagree with me on that, but yeah, what do you think? What's up? What do you think's up? What do you think about all this?
With these leaks or the plot?
What do you think? What do you think these images mean? Because Tuma, we haven't heard much about him being in the story. So, what do you think this might mean?
I don't know. I think for me, again, I love Namor's look. I love it that the Phase 4 has been going into the more comic accurate looks. Which, by the way, I know we just got done talking about it, but Thor: Love and Thunder, they did reveal why Gore's changed why they changed his face, and it's because they didn't want him to be compared to Voldemort. Going back to Wakanda Forever, I don't know, man. I'm not really into the whole Black Panther scene. I've read what I've been told is the important stuff, and that's really all I can really talk about. And I don't know. I love how Namor looks. I love how Ironheart looks. I love how Shuri's looking. From what we've heard, the production for this movie's been at times production hell. Um, and so I don't know. I really hope that this movie is amazing. The first one is again a very great movie. I don't think it's the best MCU movie. It is a very great movie though, and I would give the first movie. I'd say it's got a rightful spot in the like top 7 MCU movies. So that's just how I feel. So yeah, again, I'm excited. But it's weird because it's like the first project where I'm just like, I honestly really couldn't care less about the leaks coming out for this movie. I'll most likely not pay attention, but if they get told to me, I probably won't care.
So, now Namor, it's not going to be Atlantis, right? It's going to take a more Aztecian route, I believe.
Yeah.
It's not going to be called Atlantis. We know this. Which I'm fine with. I kind of like this. It's introducing us again to a new culture, a Latin American, Mexican culture. I really enjoy that. I'm really excited for that. And I think Namor, there's a lot of interesting elements, right? Namor is a mutant in the comics. So if I doubt they go that route. I doubt they're going to introduce the mutants through Namor. But I'm really interested to see the politics, right? We've seen the politics of Wakanda, right? Isolated. I wonder how the world's going to react to well, Wakanda's not isolated now; it's opened itself up to the world. But how two nations that forever were isolated, how is the world going to react to two of these nations just fighting each other?
Yeah.
Um, and what are they fighting over? I'm really interested in that story, right? Because I'd really like a storyline where like Namor is the new king of, I'll just keep calling it Atlantis, the new king of this Atlantis type place,
Mm.
and Shuri is now the new queen of Wakanda.
Yeah.
And how do these two new rulers, two young rulers, deal with that? I think that's a very compelling story you could go with. And then, they realize they're fighting each other, but then they're like, oh, we have a bigger enemy. And it's like Atuma that's going to destroy both of them, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's been talked about a little bit. This is really speculative. I think it might actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Doom might get introduced in this film. It's been talked about for a long time that Doctor Doom might have an appearance in this film. I don't know how that would work. I know Doom has some ties with Black Panther in the comics with Bass. I know that. I don't know how that would work, but I think there's a really interesting story there of um, two new rulers of two isolated places in the world trying to navigate a war. And them realizing that the best thing they could do is merge together and take on a bigger threat, which is Atuma. In my
Yeah.
opinion, I think that's the route they're going to go. And then obviously at the same time, this movie's doing a lot, obviously. Again, Black Panther, another type of film that is all killer, no filler. Like, it's this.
Yeah.
It's literally this. Riri Williams, I feel like this is another type of project. This movie is going to give us a lot of spin-offs. I think Namor's going to get a spin-off. Obviously, Ironheart's getting a spin-off. So I'm really excited to see how
Yeah.
this world spirals out. We know we're going to get a Wakanda show that Coogler is working on. So yeah, this is going to branch out the world of Wakanda more. Obviously, a world that a lot of people love. And this film, I'm just excited for uh, the cultural impact it had, because obviously Black Panther had a massive cultural impact. I think this film's going to do big numbers. And I'm really excited for the story we have on hand because I think Coogler is great. So, you got anything else you want to add?
No. I mean, the only thing that I would love to see, I honestly am hoping for an Atlantis v Wakanda thing, because again, in the comics, if you don't know, Namor destroys most of Wakanda. So I honestly would love to see, like, not him destroy Wakanda, but again, I would love to see a war with Atlantis or whatever it would be. Um, yeah, that's just my point of view.
Now, I also want to ask, what do you think of Riri's look?
It's good. I sent you what some people have been sharing around as her proto suit. It looks like it
It's not.
from the
It's not.
comics.
Just kidding.
So I don't know, man. I haven't seen anybody debunk it. So
It's not. It's not real. It doesn't look screen accurate. It looks like just what somebody would wear at a Comic Con. It's not real. I'm pretty confident it's not real. Um,
because it looks pretty comic accurate, but again,
well,
people
comic
are
accurate that doesn't matter. It just looks
well
cheap.
phase 4, man. Well, it is a proto suit, so
Right, but I'm talking about in the case of like what Marvel wants to put on screen. It just doesn't look good.
it's a black and white image what I shared with you. So who knows?
I know, but it
But
still
my
just
thing for
doesn't look
this
good.
is the image of Riri looks good. Like that concept art looks really good. Um, yeah, again, I think Marvel has been killing it with the comic accurate suits. So, and I hope they keep it up. Against Namor's was great. Riri, you could definitely tell they had some heavy comic inspiration with her suit. So, big fan of that. Big fan.
Yeah, 100%. So let's now move into our final topic. We're gonna go over some news about Andor that was shared in an Empire magazine article. Let's first start off with the big one that the Andor, if we have a, why did I say it like that? Andor has an official timeline. So season one, all 12 episodes are gonna take place in or 5 years before Rogue One. So about 5 BBY. Yeah. Or yeah, 5 BBY. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. And then Gilroy said that subsequently will tell a 4 year story in 12 episodes, which with each 3 episodes telling 1 year. So episode 1 through 3 will tell the story 4 years before Rogue One, 4 through 6, 3 years, 7 through 9, 2 years, and then 10 through 12 will lead us right into the events of the film.
Yeah. Very Clone Wars esque.
Right, right. Very Clone Wars esque. Um, so we're gonna get 24 episodes of the show. It's gonna be 2 seasons long. And then we also got some other news. We got the directors. Toby Haynes will be directing 6 episodes: 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, and 10. Susanna White 4, 5, 6, and Benjamin Caron 7, 11, and 12. And we also got our first image or not our first image, but an image from Empire Magazine. If I could find it. Yes, it is. Of Stellan Skarsgård and Diego Luna as Cassian, who looks very serious, on a speeder. And if you don't know who Stellan Skarsgård is, he plays Eric Selvig in the Thor franchise. Uh, so Alex, what do you think about all this news? Yeah, what do you think?
Interesting approach for season 2 to do the time jumps. I think if it's executed well, and literally the way to execute it well is just put 1 year later, just like they did with Kenobi. Because I've seen a lot of people not liking the time jumps because they think they'll get confused. I think it's easy, again, if you just put the 1 year later tag on it, it's not too confusing at that point. Yeah, I'm excited. Andor has been a very anticipated project for me as of late, and so I'm excited, man. Really
Yeah,
am.
I mean, I would disagree with you that it's going to get confusing.
I don't think it's going to get confusing, but I've seen a lot of worry about people getting confused. Again, I think it's easy just to put because that's not going to be if you think them this tweet or whatever about them saying this for season 2. Not everyone's going to see this tweet, and so I think if they just make it prevalent in the show that on the 4th episode, it's 1 year later from the last set of 3. So
That's fair. But I also think it tells me a little bit how the show's gonna, or the second season's gonna go. I feel like this is going to be telling like the big adventure Cassian had in these years. I feel like 1 through 3, like episodes 1 through 3, will be an arc, right? It will be an arc. It will be one long adventure. It's not going to tell individual stories. I think it's just going to tell. It's going to be like a Clone Wars, being an arc. You're going to get 4 arcs in season 2, 4 3 episodes arcs. I think season 1 could be structured in the same way, and I want to ask you because it looks like the directors are directing 3 episodes in a row in some cases, right? One's directing 1 2 3, one's directing, and that's that same person's directing 8 9 10. I believe it's Toby Haynes. So they're directed 3 episodes in a row. Now I want to ask you: do you think that those episodes are connected? In that sense, do you think they're telling the
yeah,
same overarching story?
I think what Andor is doing is I think it's kind of combining a mix of Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars, with season 1 taking the more Rebels approach of a linear story, and then season 2 taking a Clone Wars approach of art stories, of contained stories, of Cassian doing adventure of the year. And so that's what I think the approach is going to be.
And I would also add, I think that they're also doing a Mandalorian thing, right? Where I think there's going to be definitely one-off episodes in season 1, but they're going to be essential to the character, right? Because we got to get Cassian to the point where he is in Rogue One. We need to establish all of the bad stuff he says he's done, all of the bad things he's seen in Rogue One. So we have to establish that to really further establish and further understand his motives in Rogue One, right? Because in Rogue One, he kind of comes off as like a dick at some points, right? I mean, he's literally gonna kill Jin's father. I know it's would probably be a good thing in the name of the rebellion to kill the man who literally worked on the Death Star. I understand he put in the weakness, but like that ultimately was the reason the Death Star was destroyed. But still, he's an Imperial scientist. Like he's the top guy.
Yeah.
Besides Orson Krennic, like that would have been a good thing. Obviously, morally, killing the person's father that you just met's not a good thing. But yeah, we got to get to a place where why Cassian is such a morally great character. Obviously, he has a big heart. He wants to do good, but at what cost, right? He literally, the first scene we see him, he literally kills a dude.
Yeah.
Who gives him information. He kills him because he's not going to make it. So why does he join the rebellion? What's the rebellion doing? And again, I think there could be some episodes you don't even see Cassian. I think you could have a one-off story about what's going on in Coruscant, right?
What's going on with the Mothma? What's going on with the Senate?
Right. So I very much think that season 1 will have arcs, but also they'll have one-offs like Clone Wars and Rebels has, and Mandalorian, where we learn a little bit about the character, but maybe it doesn't progress the story as much forward. I don't think this show was going to be like Kenobi, where it's like in this case, it would be like a 7 hour, 8 hour, 9 hour film.
Yeah.
It's going to just tell stories that establish who Cassian is and establish the rebellion. So that's the way I think we're going. I think we could kind of see that from the way or what episodes the directors are directed and what Gilroy saying about the show. Tony Gilroy, who's writing it.
Yep. 130 million% agree with you, man.
And what did you think of that image?
Look good. Again, I'm very excited for Andor. It comes out at a very exciting time. It'll be our first, essentially, majorly direct competition show with Star Wars and Marvel, unless you are really counting Miss Marvel was a true competitor to Kenobi. Kenobi, the series that smashed Disney Plus records, and Miss Marvel that also smashed Disney Plus records, but for the bad reasons, as the least watched show and the least viewed show on all platforms. If you want to really consider that competition, then go you. But
yeah, Yeah, it will be definitely will be competition for Marvel Studios, and She-Hulk will be coming out at that time. So
And
yeah,
Bad
Andor
Batch.
and Bad Batch a month later. Andor, very excited. I think it's got the potential to be the best Star Wars show. It's good. I think it
Really?
could be the best looking, right? This show doesn't use the
Yeah.
volume. And I think it may lead to more shows following this 12 episode format. That's another reason we're
Yes.
excited.
If
12.
that's my thing is if this does well, then I think that should be a sign for Disney to start making their Marvel and Star Wars shows 12 episodes long.
8 to 12. Yeah.
8
But
to 12
also
again.
I'm worried we're gonna get like 12, 25-minute episodes.
Oh, stop. Don't put that out there. Don't put that out there. But again, I think Mandalorian is pretty showing that it's okay to have a filler episode in an eight
Right.
episode season or an eight episode
Well, I wouldn't
season.
even call it filler. I would
Yeah,
just call
like
it a one-off.
yeah, like the spider thing wasn't one off. It was building that thing towards Grogu's never seen Din with his helmet off. And then what do you know? It comes back to pay off in the finale. So
Right. And he needs to get Frog Lady to that planet to meet the Mandalorians. Like it's a very essential thing. Like he
yeah,
needs to do it.
yeah.
Um
Absolutely.
eh, eh,
So that's what
yeah,
I'm hoping. Obviously, who wouldn't want 12 episodes of The Mandalorian in a season?
right. And again, I think Andor, like we're saying, I think we agree, it's gonna blend Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mandalorian in the
Well,
sense it's
you
gonna tell
gotta, yeah,
arcs.
you gotta
It's
think,
also gonna have one-offs,
but you gotta
but
think.
they're one-offs that are
And
essential.
Andor is going to be concurrent with Rebels. It'll be taking place during the exact time of the beginning of Star Wars Rebels. So, do you think we could see Phoenix Squadron maybe not make an
I don't want to
appearance,
see.
but
I think
a
this
cameo, a
a
name
cameo I'd
drop?
be fine with, but I do not want to see a damn lightsaber. Not one in this show.
Oh, we're gonna see one. We didn't think we'd see one in the Mandalorian, and then we
No, the
saw.
Mandalorian made sense literally after the first episode with
Yeah,
Grogu.
but take Grogu out. You could have made this a different story for the Mandalorian to be separated from the Jedi.
What character would you put in Andor?
Vader.
No, why? What is he gonna do? The
Who
dude
knows?
didn't even have time to hunt Obi-Wan. Oh, let me go after Cassian Andor.
Who knows? Maybe he kills an Imperial officer. Maybe we'll see another Jedi. Who knows?
Nah, I'm not down with that.
Who flippin' knows? Maybe we'll
Because
see.
I feel like
Maybe we'll see
the same way I
Obi-Wan.
feel with Cassian is like the same way I feel like with Han Solo. It's like those two kind of shouldn't know a lot about the Force.
Shouldn't or should?
Shouldn't. Like Han doesn't know really anything until he meets Ben. And I feel like Cassian's the same way. He's just a grunt that's fought his way. I don't feel like
Dude,
Cassian's the type of character to believe in mystical powers.
lightsabers are going to be in every series and show. I would be remiss
I don't think you're
if
gonna
we
see a
don't.
lightsaber.
I don't know, man. If we're
I
not,
mean, you barely saw one in Rogue One.
if we don't see one in season 1, we'll see it in season 2.
Okay, I
That's
think
my
that's fair.
that's
Any
my
other thoughts?
prediction. Nope.
Got anything else to talk about?
No. That's it.
All right. Well, I think that is going to do it then for episode number 75 of Wars in the Stars, 25 away from 100. We'll be back either Friday or Saturday for a Thor Love and Thunder review. As always, check out Alex on TikTok at Candy in My Van.
Yeah,
Check
it'll be very inactive though, so be
Check-
wary of that.
check us out on TikTok at Wars in the Stars podcast.
Check Drew
And
at Hand Me the Man.
Check me out at Hammy Demand on TikTok if you want to talk about some leaks and review some shows, if that's your sort of thing. And as always, may the Force be with you, Alex, and may you stay,
I forgot the line.
and may you stay burning with glorious purpose.
I thought you said it already.
No, I kind of wanted me to do the May the Force be with you, and then you. Okay, whatever. We'll let you do the May the Force. Let's try that again. You do the May the Force be with you.
Nah. I thought we had a thing for Miss Marvel, but forgot.
Nope.
Where there's no
No,
cool
we
tag.
just always do "May the Force be with you" and "May you stay
I
burdened with glorious purpose."
forgot.
As always, may the Force be with you and may you stay burdened with glorious purpose. See you this weekend.